Hello, what is up guys? Hope you're doing well. Today I'm making a little bit weird recipe, which is pickled tomatoes, which I really love. And the type of tomatoes that I'm using is called Roma tomatoes. I searched online and it says that it's called Roma tomatoes, and I'm using this tomatoes because it's got less water content than the regular tomatoes, and I think it's a little bit sweeter, so it's suitable for pickles. I'm gonna start off by picking all the tomatoes and put them upside down in a sieve. This is basically the first step. And the second step, which is very important, is to rub the tomatoes with sea salt, not table salt. I'm gonna put a little bit inside and try to spread the salt in the tomato because I can't put my finger inside, but I try to, spread it by shaking it a little and rub it from outside and put it upside down in the sieve so the water would run out of the tomatoes. And this is so important. Like in any pickles recipe, you need to always get rid of the water. Water would ruin the Makdous itself, so it's very important to let the water run out. I'm gonna put those two sieves in the fridge for like 1 or 2 days, depending on the water content that it's coming out of the tomatoes. So I'm gonna move on to the next step once I see that there's no longer water coming out of the tomatoes. Now I'm going to make the stuffing, which consists of walnut, which I'm going to crush in a food processor. I want it to be chunky, I don't want it to be very fine. So you can cut it in a knife in order to make it chunky. You don't need a food processor for that step. And the second ingredient is peppers. I'm going to use red peppers, but you can use orange, green, whatever you like, basically. But red is very common to use in Makdous or pickled tomatoes or pickled aubergine. You would always see the red color is the main color in the filling. I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces to fit in my food processor. I'm gonna add chili pepper as well, only one. I don't want it to be very chili, but you can add as much as you want. As you can see, it's very fine, which is what I need exactly. I'm gonna put it in the sieve and try to press it. Add a little bit of salt to help the water run out of it. In making Makdous, we always want the water to run out of everything in the recipe. So I'm gonna put sea salt in order to help the water run out of the peppers. And as you can see, the water is coming out already. I'm gonna press it, put something heavy on top, and leave it in the fridge overnight. This is the next day. I'm gonna put everything all together in order to fill the tomatoes. I'm gonna put the peppers over the walnut. If it needs more walnut, you can add more. I'm gonna add sea salt as well. Add sea salt depending on your taste, how you like it to be. You like it very salty or less salty or whatever. You do you here. There's no right and wrong. I added a couple of crushed cloves of garlic as well. You can add as much as you want of garlic as well. Like there's no right or wrong, as I said before. Now I'm gonna mix everything all together and start filling the tomatoes. You need to really fill it really well. I don't want the tomato to be very empty from inside. It's always nice when you open the tomato and the filling is like really a lot inside. I love that. Now as you can see at the bottom of the jar there's water, so I'm gonna get rid of that water again and flip the jar upside down in the sieve. I'm gonna leave the jar in the fridge until I no longer see water coming out of it. And as you can see, the water is coming out of the jar already. I left my jars for 2 days in the fridge as far as I remember. And now let's move on to the last step, which is to add olive oil to Makdous. If you've eaten Makdous already, you know that it's preserved in olive oil, and I would leave it in the olive oil for 1 week or 2 before I open the jar and start eating. And I think from the first week you will notice that the level of olive oil is over, and you would see the olive oil is over the jar and everywhere. So I recommend putting a plate underneath, and all of that actually means that the fermentation process is taking place. That's why the olive oil would be all over the place. And then you would notice again that the level of olive oil is reduced. So always you need to make sure that the olive oil is always above the Makdous pieces, otherwise it would be ruined. Like at least the first layer would be ruined, which is not nice at all. And you can see how beautiful they look like. I hope you really love this recipe as much as I do, and hope you really enjoyed this video and like it. And actually that was it for me today, and I shall speak to you all in my next video. Goodbye.